I'm Becca. This is my story. So my story starts out like a lot of stories do. I was born into a Christian family, raised in a Christian home, went to church every Sunday, Sunday school, all the normal things, I guess you could say. When I was 13, I went to a different church and got very involved in the youth group. And was just, lived a pretty easy life with the family of four, as American as they come, I guess you could say, pretty normal. And then my testimony, I guess you could say, kind of starts in high school. And that's where things started to change a little bit. The first few years of high school, I was very strong in my Christian belief. I wasn't very vocal about it, but I had a very strong relationship with Christ that I kind of kept to myself. And then I started dating. I got involved with a boy who was 3 years older than I was. He was only a grade ahead of me, but 3 years older, so the age difference definitely showed, but I didn't realize it at the time. So we dated for a very long time. I was very naive and didn't understand anything about it. He also did not believe in God at all. And as a very young Christian, I didn't understand the importance of being in a relationship with a Christian. We've been dating for 2 years. I was 16 years old, and he became threatening, almost violent, to the point of, if you don't do these things for me, it's going to be bad for you. If you really love me, you do this. If you don't do this, I'm going to tell all your friends this. And I fell for it. So I lost my virginity to a man who I have not spoken to in 6 years when I was 16 years old. He didn't just take my virginity, he took my innocence. He took my dignity, and he took any ounce of self-worth that I ever had. And then he left for college. I started my senior year of high school, and he left for college, where he met lots of girls who lived on his floor and were much easier to get with than me. So he cheated on me several times and then left me for dead. And then in November of my senior year of high school, I got very, very sick. I spent most of December in the hospital. The doctors could not figure out what it was. There was no specific cause for it. The C word was thrown around. And that was kind of like the leading diagnosis, was stomach cancer. And so right when I was getting tested for those things and beginning treatment, all of a sudden it was gone. And I was fine. And that was without a doubt from God. But in the 3 months that I had been very sick, I hadn't eaten at all because I was unable to. It was painful. And so then once I was given a clean bill of health, I didn't start eating again. I fell into the trap of anorexia. And when people get into these situations when they are lost and feel hopeless, you turn to drugs, alcohol, things like that. My drug of choice was men. And it was just anything I could do to feel needed or wanted, loved, anything. And I felt that my self-worth was coming from making men happy. And then I came to college and didn't really find a niche, I guess you could say. I got in with OCF. One of my friends invited me to go with her in fall of our freshman year, and it was the greatest thing I've ever done. So then in my junior year of college, I felt like I was in a really good place, and I had worked it all out with God. I had been forgiven, for all of those stupid sins that I let control my life. And I thought I was in a really, really good place and was freed from all of those chains. And so I thought that I was ready to get into a relationship. And we dated for a while, and it just, neither one of us were ready for it, and it wasn't the right time or the right thing, so then that ended. And then as soon as it was over, I kind of fell back into my old ways. In the fall of my senior year of college, I pretty much just cut out all of my friends from my life. I just made it worse by staying away from people, because that's what I really needed. I needed fellowship and I needed community, and instead of that, I just ran. I ran from everybody I knew, but most importantly, I was running from God. I couldn't get upset about why aren't they asking if I'm okay? Why don't they care? I didn't give them a reason to think there was something wrong. The world had a very strong hold on me, and I was believing so many lies from the enemy. You know, you're not good enough to have a relationship with God. Like, he hates you because you've done all these stupid things. He's given you all these chances and you've blown it every time. Then one night, I was standing in a parking lot at 2 in the morning with one of my best friends, and we just out of nowhere came to this agreement: if you go to NDCC, I'll go to NDCC. And I mean, I don't know where I would be if we hadn't decided to go. And so then going into Indy, I was a nervous wreck, because I remember being at Fuel and OCF and just going through the motions. I couldn't bring myself to sing. I couldn't bring myself to say the words that we were singing because I didn't feel worthy. As soon as we got to Indy, something changed. The very first session, the opening session, there was just a moment when the speaker said, if you're feeling convicted by something right now, just stand up. And then all of a sudden I had 7 people from schools that I didn't even know. I don't know any of their names, but they just had their hands all on me and were just praying and speaking the exact things that I was dealing with. They had no idea who I was or what I was going through. On New Year's Eve, I remember just thinking about all the things that I had wrestled with God with the last few days, and just came to a point where I was ready and felt deserving to even speak to God. And so, the minutes leading up to midnight, I was just with God. I was on my knees, just begging for forgiveness. And from midnight on, I was a new person. And on January 1st, 2012, I was baptized. And it was just so symbolic of this new life that God had given me. And I had been literally washed clean. The moral of the story, children, is your worth does not come from men or from drugs or from alcohol or from the opinions of people or your friends or your family or school or any of those things. Your worth is found in one place, and that's from Jesus Christ.